to y'all to go ahead and get started.
Okay. I am, like I said, Natalie, and I'm gonna start us out tonight. And like Miss Elliott said, we are very casual. And so we want you to please provide any feedback you want. If you have a comment about something, we may ask you to join us. When we used to do this in person, it was very interactive. But now that we're doing it virtually, we have found that we do get usually a better parent, what do you want to say? Participation, should I say? Or people coming, attendance. I couldn't think of the word. So that's why we are continuing to do it virtually, because we feel like it's a lot easier for parents. So, but our topic tonight is balancing parent and a career. And this is definitely something that is dear to my heart, because I have worked and I have 2 children. They are in high school now, but I remember, starting out and just trying to create that balance. And it was a struggle, and you start feeling all kinds of mom guilt. And then if I'm doing this right, I'm doing that right. And you start comparing yourself to everybody. And so that is why we chose this lesson tonight, because all of us on here are moms, and we've had jobs. And so we thought that might be something that our parents would enjoy. So this quote, I really love it. Parents can be employed and meet the emotional, physical, and intellectual needs of their children. This requires an intense commitment by both parents to maintaining a loving, open relationship with their youngsters, while creating an atmosphere in which the needs of all family members are respected. And so I think also early on, I always thought, oh, am I doing my kids a disservice by working, because I'm not giving them the time that somebody else could if they were home with them. And I'm here to tell you that if you're intentional about it, it's just as good. Because there's lots of times when I felt like, oh, I'm making the most out of my quality time, and it's just as good. So just keep that in mind as we go. Some statistics on workplace. Now, these are from 2013. I did look up statistics today from 2020, and really they have not changed too much in the last 7 years, which is odd, because we thought, especially with the pandemic, that it might have changed a little bit. The only statistic that has changed are fathers are actually still in the workplace working at the exact same rate. The mothers in the workplace have decreased, but maybe by like 2 or 3%. So it really hasn't changed a whole lot. And so if we look at these statistics, 59% of today's families are dual career families. So that means mom and dad are both working, and usually outside of the home. With remote jobs, that has changed a little bit. 63.9% of today's mothers with preschool age children are in the labor force. That's huge. And then of the school age children, mothers with school age children, 74.7% are in the labor force. So if you look at those numbers, that's pretty much, a good amount of us. 3/4 of us are working if you have school age children. And then preschool age children, it goes down a little bit, but not much. So if you do have a career and are in the workforce, you're doing what a good majority of everybody else is doing too. So what all this means is we're very busy families, and balancing work and family can be very hard. So Ms. Gaither, do you want to?
Yeah, it's definitely, especially I think at these times, being a family can be very demanding. It's challenging, and at times it's overwhelming. And sometimes it's hard to find all those positives in that, but know that there are some positives. So I wanted to ask if anyone's willing to participate, if you'd like to chat, or if you'd like to turn on your microphone and join in. Wanted to brainstorm what some of the possible benefits to adults and kids can be with working families. So does anyone have anything they would like to share? More independent? Yes, you can be more independent for the kiddos, for sure. And also, I think, for the parents. You're creating those healthy kind of separations at times, their life, your life, independently.
I think there's some satisfaction to, being able to maintain a career too. Of course, the financial the stability if one of us loses a job, as far as, I'm not a single mom, I do have a partner, but if one of us loses a job, it doesn't mean like, oh my goodness, we're going to be okay for a few months while my husband finds a job or whatever the situation. So just some financial security, especially as we get closer to retirement. It is nice to know we're going to have a couple retirements to kind of help us through that time.
So true. Yeah. The financial resources is one of the biggest benefits that people, and one of the reasons why people do dual careers, and that self-fulfillment that you said, that's very important as well. We also shared being able to afford more things for kids. Yes, especially, having kids is expensive these days. My sister just had a baby. And so at the baby shower, one of the games was how much do all the baby things cost? And my kid's only 8, and how much it's changed since then. I was shocked. I was like, wow, it cost that much. But yes, and activities, yes, doing all the things that we want all of our kiddos to do creates that financial responsibility and resources, but can also lead to a little bit more stress, a little bit more busy times as well. Awesome. If you'll go ahead and advance the slide, we've kind of identified some more. And motivating kids to take a career. So good. Yes, that's definitely one. So for the parent, like you guys recognize, fulfills that personal career goal for yourself, can provide the financial resources and the self-fulfillment. And like Shalu, am I saying that right? Shalu?
Shalu.
Shalu, thank you. And as Shalu recognized, you're modeling that work ethic and helping kids see that as a goal and the norm. We want them to be successful and succeed and be able to do all those things too. And for our kids, sometimes we do feel that mom guilt, but really we're helping our kids learn how to take on responsibility for themselves, for their work. They're part of that. They can develop a teamwork in the families. Everyone's contributing, everyone's doing, and that independence, like Cynthia helped us recognize, self-reliance. If everyone's got responsibilities and jobs, that kid's going to be able to do more on their own. Problem-solving skills and trust in their own ability, separate from their parent. They're just building more skills. Anyone else want to hear?
Sorry, Miss Ashley, are we saying that if a parent is at home that they're not doing this? We're just letting you people know there's lots of good benefits to that. But of course, anyone with intentionality.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. We just, it's a sensitive topic for some people. So we want to make
it definitely is.
Yeah.
But recognizing that though everyone has a unique situation, that it's not something that you have to feel like it's all negative or it's all bad, because can be some benefits, and just trying to recognize and find those. And that's the same with any situation you're in. We want everyone to be able to recognize that, there's challenges, of course, and there's benefits in all kinds of situations. It's a balance. I think like Ms. Johnson said earlier, it's that balance that's key. And as you recognize, there's also definitely some challenges to overcome. The studies of career families say that there are 4 major challenges for the working parent. And that's to say, if those advantages do outweigh these challenges, then it can be a benefit. But some of these challenges are resolving the personal guilt for being a working parent. I know a lot of us can carry that around. Devoting quality time to child and spouse, but also finding time for yourself. That is a definite challenge, finding time for every little bit. And then feeling happy and satisfied with your job. Are you feeling enough satisfaction that you feel like it's worth it for you to be able to work at home or work away from the home? And acquiring quality childcare. So this is definitely a challenge. And as we were kind of discussing beforehand, especially right now with jobs being scarce, childcare is much more of a challenge these days. There are places that don't have spots, or it's hard to fill, and so they're not accepting as many people. So finding that quality childcare may become more of a challenge. And then it also extends to older kids who may come home alone after school. That can also be a challenge, making sure that they're safe and that they're motivated and getting the stimulation that they need to be successful. So definitely recognizing the balance and things.
I just wanted to add something in here. My sister is a nurse and works and has 5 kids, and she always talks about, she runs them around, all the things. But then I'm like, what are you doing for you? And it's always, well, I don't know. I think being a counselor, I'm more aware of what I need to be doing for me. But if you're not in that field, you might not have that mindset. And then you start feeling, well, I don't have time. I have to take them here. I have to do that. And I try to remind her that if she's not feeling good and that she's not rested, then those kids aren't going to have the same satisfaction of their activities and their sports and all of that. And neither will she. So I think that time for yourself is super, super important. And I don't want any moms to ever forget that, or dads, because I think sometimes we put everybody before we put ourselves.
So true. We're always kind of putting our own needs off, but it's important to take care of yourself. Just like the airplane metaphor, you have to put your mask on yourself before you can put your mask on other people. So it's always important to remember. All right. And then that leads us to, when is it that you need to know you need to focus on yourself? There's definite signs of stress that may not be working out, that you might need to look at some of those things. Constant sense of urgency. If you're finding that there's no time to relax, you can't enjoy the family time, that, you want to make those moments really special and really intentional. And if you can't enjoy that, then that's definitely a sign of stress. There's little time left for self or couple time that may be out of balance. Feelings of guilt for not being the super parent, excuse me, or the super spouse. And then it's easy to get frustrated and not being able to be and do everything for your family and your job and your community and all the other things, your pets and your plants and everything that we all liked. You want to do everything. It's hard to find. And then you start to get frustrated that you can't do it all. Frequent tension, underlying anger can create some sharp words, some friction in the family, misunderstandings. And then you find yourself just kind of dreaming of that simpler life, or frequent talks of times, when it wasn't so hard. A strong feeling that time is passing you by, or kids are growing up too fast and you're missing all the moments. These are all just signs that may not be in balance. It may be time to just take a check and see what you can give, and what you might need to work on a little bit more.
Well,
Are there any, sorry.
well, also, sorry. I think just sometimes when we start feeling that way, we need to look at, are we being realistic too, right? It's just, I don't have to be super mom. That's putting too much pressure on myself. I want to be a good mom and a healthy mom, but so y'all might be moving on into that. But I think sometimes it's okay to stop and think, why am I feeling this way? And is it a valid feeling? I mean, it's my feeling, but what can I do to maybe reframe that thought?
Yeah. And that leads us to ways to deal with it. Kind of analyze how you're feeling, where is it coming from?
And that does take us into traits of a healthy career family. So if you are the working mom and you are putting several hours a week, whether it's part-time job or full-time job, then these are some traits that you might look for, and take a step back and take a look at your family and see if any of these traits resemble you guys. They embrace a new value system in accordance with today's changing roles in the family. So obviously our roles do change in our family, and the family dynamics can change. And sometimes this can happen in a very short amount of time. And so depending on, especially in this season that we're in right now, you may have to bring family members into your home, or maybe you and your family have to go stay at another home with other families. So roles can change, and just making sure that your family's adjusting. So communicate with all family members on a feeling level and negotiate effectively. So in other words, I'm feeling very stressed about this situation, or I'm feeling, this way, just communicating that with your family and letting them know. I think that when we work when we can communicate on a level that this is what I'm feeling, this is how you said it, but this is how I felt, then that can kind of be a little bit more effective conversation. Set aside time for themselves in your marriage and the children. So that means just taking time out, which we've already stated before, not only for yourself, but for your spouse, your significant other, having an opportunity to go somewhere together, even if it's just a stay at home and watch a movie while someone else watches the kids. Something that simple can really make a big difference. And just last week at our church on Sunday, our preacher talked about how important this is. And, he made a statement and it kind of clicked, after your kids are gone, if you don't take care of yourselves during this entire time of raising a family, you're going to look at your spouse and not know who they are, because we change over time. And you change over time, your spouse changes over time. And it's important for y'all to work together to learn how each other are changing and what might need to change in order to keep things going in a positive direction. So, and then of course, spending time with children, that's an incredibly important thing, to do with each child, not just all of the children together, but carving out the time to spend with each child separately. So traits of a healthy career family is they acquire exemplary childcare and that provides nurturing, safe, and stimulating environment for the child. And like we said earlier, childcare is more difficult these days. And I can say that, I would say there's probably a pretty significant wait list, especially for infants childcare. And, you might, if the opportunity is there, ask someone to come into your home, or maybe reach out to some family, or if it's after school childcare, we work with a lot of really great high school kids that could use a little job from 4 to 6 or 7, depending on what your hours are of need. A healthy career family shares responsibility and ownership in the family. So you're not doing everything. I know that's something that I struggle with in my family. I kind of tend to think that I'm the only one who can vacuum the floors, or I'm the only one who can make the bed correctly. And that's not the case. So make sure that you are allowing others to help out. You're careful to plan and structure with a schedule. I think a schedule is incredibly important, especially when multiple family members are involved. And the bigger your family is, I can imagine the tighter your schedule could be and the busier it's going to be. Students absolutely 100% thrive on scheduling. They thrive on structure, and it as hard as it is to implement, it's extremely important, especially when they're young. They have to have a set rules. They have to have structure and know what's coming, what to expect. So another trait is that you establish priorities and keep them in proper balance. And that's, even that deals even with your extended family. If you have got that favorite sibling that you're so close to, or a favorite parent, your parent, you want to go do something with somebody, you have to really learn how to prioritize and have to balance everything out so that you're not spreading yourself too thin. I've been guilty of this before. And so that's something that you really have to work on, so that, again, you're energizing yourself, because just like Ms. Gaither stated a while ago, we have to put the mask on ourselves before we can take care of others. You minimize the guilt of being a working parent. And that's something that I know that guilt can take a toll on especially a young parent or a new parent. And just try your hardest to know that we've all been there, and we're all working together. And it's something that has to be done. You recognize stress is normal and seek solutions to your problems. So that's obviously a really important trait to know, that, I know I'm not the only one under all this stress. I'm not the only one who's raised a 7-year-old. I'm not the only one who's raised a 12-year-old, or who's battling a school academic struggle or who's battling even a home struggle and behavior. You're not the only one who's had a kid in Walmart scream and yell. You know, we've all been there, and it's real important for you to understand that that some things are normal and some things are stages that kids go through, and it's a temporary time. It's not forever. And you enjoy your job. So hopefully you do enjoy your job. And that's actually on the next page. The very first bullet point says tips for mothers who work. And it says, look for a supportive employer and workplace, one that's has flexible options, maybe even one that you can work from home, etc. This is an incredibly important. I'm so glad it's the first thing, because your job has got to be supportive of your role as a mom. There are going to be days you wake up, your child's running fever. Y'all know how this goes, and you have to stay home. You've got to be able to have a backup plan, a plan B, to take care of yourself, your child, and your job. Provide contact time with your child. Spending quality and quantity time lets the child know that he or she is important to you. And just like Ms. Johnson said earlier in our, when we very first started, I believe you stated that quantity of time is just, quality of your time is just as important as quantity. And it's very important that that child know that you really are there for them. This isn't just a checkbox that you're filling before you go to bed that night. This is your time with them. And you might be able to carve that out after a bath and right before bed with reading a book, or maybe working on a poem together, or maybe working on a puzzle together. It's just anything to be together and anything to be able to create an environment where you're.
And Ms. Wallace, I thought a thought I had on that too. I think it's really important to take the cue from the child about what's important to them. And that's just going to give it a lot more of that quality to them. Like, just for example, like, last weekend I wanted to take my son over, I was like, we're going to do we're going to go to the farmer's market and pick out pumpkins and da-da. He wasn't really feeling it, And then like later that night, he just wanted to show me his Pokemon cards, and I could just, just really listen to him and name all the Pokemon. And that meant probably more to him than what I thought was going to be this great memory.
Yeah.
And,
that's a great point. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because that is so true. We cram pack our weekends, don't we?
And I was like, we totally could have skipped the pumpkins and just gone straight for the Pokemon.
Yeah. And that is a great point, because our kids, what we consider top priority is not going to be top priority for them, and vice versa, and it's real important that you are, I didn't always enjoy getting down and playing Legos and cars and everything with my son. And I didn't always know the answers to some of his questions on hunting or fishing or, whatever the case is. And I certainly didn't want the dead frogs to be brought in the house, but we've had to, you kind of have to do just that, Ms. Gaither. And that's a wonderful point, is what's going to be important to that child and what are they going to remember?
I want to add something also.
Yeah.
So with the busyness of a schedule, and if you have kids involved in activities, which I know somebody mentioned activities being expensive or costly, which they are, I've had lots of conversations, even with middle schoolers, wanting that time with their family. And the only time that they seem to be with them, or the majority of the time, is in the car when they're driving from sport to sport or activity to activity. And so I've given them, I have little chat pack cards that have random questions on it. And I'm like, you know what, why don't you take this when you ride with your mom? Because, and then y'all can just talk through these questions, because sometimes the conversation is always just about grades and it's about whatever's going on at school. And so to them, it seems like all they care about is if they're doing well at school, and so they seem like they're always on their case. So I told them, bring up these random questions, and then you can just have that conversation with them. And I'm going to tell you, not one, I lose chat packs because kids take them and they don't ever bring them back because they crave that time with their parents. And it's so easy when you're busy, it just use that car time intentionally. Cause I know sometimes I'll be riding in the car and I get in my own world. I don't even have a conversation with my child because I'm thinking about whatever's going on in work. But then there's times when I realize it and I'm like, wait a minute. You have this time. We've got to be intentional about it. Let's make a conversation.
Right. That's another great point. And I believe, Miss Gaither, didn't you have Chick-fil-A packs, conversation packs?
Yeah, it's Chick-fil-A sometimes was
Mhm.
giving out those little conversation starters in their kids'
Yeah.
meals, and
I mean,
I
that's
saved them all. They're so fun.
And that is so fun. And that's something that's really neat that you could start as a family tradition in your own family, or maybe, whatever the case is, and sometimes our conversations do end up with drilling. And I have been guilty of that myself. And I've got my teen in the car and we don't have to make eye contact. So it's a great time to have really tough conversations and the not so comfortable conversations. And I have done that. And sometimes I turn the radio down and he's like, oh, Mom, like he knows it's coming. But now, we've giggled past that point and now it's other times too, but I mean, other different conversations that are a lot lighter and more fun to have. But it's real important to have those, because we do remember what we've been told, we remember what we hear, and we remember how it makes us feel. So the next point to bring up is watch out for feelings of guilt. Supermom is a myth. Do not try to do it all. So we cannot encourage you enough as a parent that even super dad is not real. And these parents, you can't do it all. You just can't. And so don't exhaust yourself. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. And then we encourage the following things underneath this is just reduce your housework time. A spotless home might become less of a priority. If you can afford it, try to get a housekeeper. That is a huge blessing if that's something that you can afford to do, but not all of us can do that. And always ask a family member to help out. Even your youngest child can do really simple things. Even if it's, hey, buddy, take the trash from this point to this point, or maybe even sweep the floor or dust, run a dust cloth around, whatever the case is. It's very important. Chores are incredibly important for children to do and to take part in as a family. They need to feel that they're contributing to your family household, and they need to feel that they are making a difference. And important things like, cleaning their own room, that is important. That's a great thing to do. Look how great your room looks. This makes me feel so good. You've really taken a lot off my plate. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you keeping your room picked up, just simple things to let that child know that they matter and what they're doing is making a big difference. Something that's not listed on here is for cooking. And I figured this out and learned this through, oh my gosh, I just went blank. But have your child cook a meal. And that not only teaches your child how to cook, but it gives them a responsibility. And we started doing this with our son as young as 4th or 5th grade. And he started learning how to make breakfast. And so one night a week we would have breakfast for dinner. And he learned how to do it. Now, of course, we're there to help. Love and Logic, that's what it was. That's what we learned through Love and Logic. But, it's really important. It makes them feel good. It makes them feel like they're really a part of things. So I can't recommend that more. Something else that we've discovered that we have done is if it's affordable and it meets your budget and you're able to, depending on where you live and so forth, is HelloFresh or Blue Apron. Miss Gaither got me turned on to this, and we chose to use HelloFresh. And I'm telling you, everything comes in a little box. And I said, you know what? Here's the recipe card. Teen, you cook one night, and he did. And he would learn how to read the recipe, cook everything, and it worked out really well. So that was a lot of fun, and it got everyone involved. So make sure that you are sharing your household duties. Avoid fatigue. Sleep deprivation can be more harmful, and you cut corners in other areas so that you are getting the sleep that you need. And I'm an 8-hour a night sleeper. I have to have my 8 hours, and I make sure I do everything it takes to prepare myself to go to bed at a certain time. And I've been this way my entire life. My mom raised my sister and I this way, and we have been very regiment on our sleep time. And it's just really important to make sure you're getting your sleep. The next point on here is remember the Sabbath, carve out time for rest, relaxation, and family time, whether that's a Saturday or a Sunday for you, whether it may be a Monday. I don't know how old your children are and what grade they're in, but well, we have some elementaries I saw earlier. So, make sure that you're carving out that time for yourself and carving out that time to relax and get some rest. Develop a good support system. Other working mothers, neighborhood friends, coworkers, whatever you can, wherever you can find those other moms. Sunday school, Mother's Day out programs. They have great mothers that can help you get involved or help you be a part of your support system. But don't start comparing yourself to others, because everyone's story is different and everyone's situation is different. And it's real important for you to understand and know that you were placed in this situation for a reason, and you were placed exactly where you are. And you need to really lean into finding out what that is, but know who your support is.
And Ms. Wallace, I thought if I might interject too,
Mhm.
I know in this time and this day and age right now, especially, a lot of parents are asking about how to manage working at home with
Mhm.
young kiddos. And that may be something that's really important here too, is developing your support system, because it's really hard to do all that. You've got to make a meeting right when your kid has to eat, or whatever it may be. It just becomes even more to juggle. And if you can have a support system and really work on setting those boundaries and setting that structure, and knowing who can, if it's a Mother's Day out program or a neighbor that has another young one they can play outside together, or something that can give you a little bit of time on your own. Those are, it's really important to develop that network, if you will.
Mhm.
And you can do that for other people too, if you have a community that allows that. So just a little food for thought there, because I know that we all have unique situations.
Yeah, that's excellent. Our next bullet point says, simplify your life, unclutter your lists of projects, delegate duties to others, and guard your time by learning to say no. And that's really hard for moms, because we want to do everything. We want to tell our children, yes, I can take you here. Yes, you can go here. Yes, we can go do that, or whatever the case is. And it's hard. It's really hard. It's not only, it takes up a lot of your time, it can take up a lot of your budget. So remember to really guard your time and delegate those duties. Like I said earlier, it may not be perfect. It may not be exactly the way you want it to be done, but it's really important for other people to know that they're contributing, that they're helping out. And whether that's cooking, cleaning, whether it's running errands for you. I know I have a teenager now who drives, and it's really hard for me to say, hey, can you stop by and get X, Y, and Z at the grocery store? Because what if he doesn't get the right product, or he's not going to pick out a good enough, whatever it is that I need, that I know I'm going to want. But it's important. It's important. You've got to be careful of your time. Make time for yourself. Taking a long bath, reading a book, spending time alone is really important to do. Wherever you can find that alone time, grab it and spend some time alone. And I've seen a lot of memes and hear a lot of funny jokes about moms going to the bathroom all the time, because that's where they can spend some time alone. So it's wherever you can grab it, get it, and use it. Set boundaries both inside and outside the home. Family meals, the frequency of family meals, limit limiting time on your phone or any other electronic device. 30 minutes of individual time with each child each day. I don't know what that looks like because I only have one child. So, Natalie, what do you think? You have 2 girls, so 30 minutes a night with each one.
That's hard to do. I'm gonna be real honest. They're just busy kids
Mhm.
again. 30 minutes is a lot of time. So if you can do that, do it. But I would say whatever time you get, make it good time.
Yes.
Like there's
Also-
times my oldest daughter will come in from work and I'm tired, right? And
Mhm.
I'll have my show on or whatever, and she just wants to have a conversation with me. And so a lot of times I don't recognize it and I keep watching my show, or I'll hit pause. We'll have our conversation where however long it is, and then she'll go about her business. Cause really she doesn't need, whatever she's trying to tell me is not going to be that long, but she just wants, 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, they do. They do. And the same thing, my son comes home from either working or hanging out with friends. He could pop through that door any minute now, just FYI. But, he comes in and we recently got, this is so silly, but I can't believe the difference that it's made. We recently purchased a new couch and for our living room. And I never really realized how, offset our living room must have been because he never came in, and now he comes in and there's some nights I'm like, are you gonna sleep on the couch or are you going to your room? Because he just, it's just one of those types of, I guess it's a piece of furniture that just invites everybody because the dogs and all of us are on it. But it's just made such a difference. And golly, I told somebody the other day, I wished I'd have bought it 10 years ago, to be honest, because it's really made a huge difference. And he comes in more and he's just a part of just wants to be in the living room. And I don't know, I thought that was kind of odd, but anyways. So
Well, I thought I'd just interject too, but
Uh-huh.
just to kind of recognize too that 30 minutes doesn't necessarily have to be continuous 30 minutes. You can
That's
get
true.
to feel those chunks of time throughout the day, in the morning, when you get home, at bedtime. All the little bits do count. So
that's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up because that is true. Our last point on this slide says, find joy, recognize the small wonders of self, laughing, playing, or singing with your child, and always smile. And, gosh, as hard as it's hard to admit that sometimes that's hard too. Sometimes it's just really stressful and we have rough days. And, but it's really important to remember to congratulate them, to remember to, my dog's about to start barking, I think, but to remember to, really let them know how much that you find joy in just being a parent. And I tell my son, often, and when he played baseball, I really enjoyed watching you play tonight. That was, I really like how you handled that, situation on the field. I saw that and it looked like that guy got the ball, but he didn't, or whatever the case is, just letting them know I was there. I saw it. I paid attention. And what I really enjoyed the most is seeing you work so hard and you enjoy it. And I saw you smile and I saw how much joy that brought you. And it just made me feel so good. Or I see how upset this makes you and it hurts my heart because I know that you're upset and I want to hear you out. So let's talk this through and tell me what frustrated you about this. So just listening, taking that time to really listen to them and understand that instead of telling them, tell me what's going on. Tell me this, tell me that. Instead of telling them, you're just more interested in the feeling. I see that this is upsetting you, or I see that this is really exciting for you. I want to hear more. Or let me know how I can help with this. Or, maybe even let me know next time this does come up, what are other kids that doing that are in this situation? Or would you like to hear what I did when I was your age in this situation? And I think that that's really helpful for the kids. I think it really helps them to see that they do matter. Our very last slide says, his name is Today. This is a sweet little poem. Many things we need can wait, the child cannot. Now is the time his bones are being formed, his mind is being developed, and his values are being set. To him, we cannot say tomorrow. His name is today. So that's a sweet little reminder that each day does count, each moment with your child does count, even the small ones, even the short ones, the small car ride to school, or the small car ride to a friend's house to drop them off, or even to the grocery store. Every single minute of it matters, and they're watching every single thing we do. And that's something else that has been, it's very important to remember and keep in mind. Anyone have any thoughts or feelings or questions, or anyone dealing with anything that we didn't touch on, that maybe if you want to bring it up and you feel safe, that this is a safe environment to bring it up, you're welcome to. You can put it in the chat if you don't want to chime in or unmute yourself. We understand that as well.
I thought I might just elaborate just a little bit, like what you're saying about, finding things to let go of, or we really are in a time when we can lean on services that we have, like, for example, like the HelloFresh, and if that's available to you. But there's also things like Amazon Fresh or delivery things, and Amazon Fresh is something that you can order groceries through Amazon and it doesn't cost extra, and they deliver it, and it's like a big time saver, not having to go to the grocery store.
Yes.
And
You
even
got me
like
turned on to that too.
saving your lists so that you can
Mhm.
just click your most popular things, and then just talking to other people who are in the same situation as you, like, what are you doing for this? Like, this really bothers me about what's going on right now. What do you do for this? We go
Right.
to work all the time and have those conversations, so just thought,
And Miss Gaither and I have been working together the last couple of years, and when COVID hit, and I think right around that time is when she introduced me to all these deliveries. Well, Kelly, you can get this done and this delivered and this. And I'm like, well, how much extra is that? Because I don't want to spend extra. And it's not. It doesn't cost any extra, and the prices, some of them are a smidget higher depending on what you're purchasing. But I tell you, I tapped into those delivery services, and recently I've started using Walmart pickup. So every Friday afternoon, I get my meal planned out for the next week, and I write out my groceries and what all we need, and I check in with everybody. I'm getting the grocery order in. Do you need anything? Would you like anything special? Whatever the case is. And I put it in my little buggy, and I check out, and I go pick it up at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock the next morning on a Saturday morning. I avoid traffic. They know when I leave my house, they notify me, and I feel like it's extremely affordable prices, because it's about affordable as I can find right now. Groceries have gone up considerably, but we're trying to make the best of it, and I've also been starting each week. I try to grab an extra something just to stock up and get my pantry and my freezer ready for maybe another snowmageddon. I don't know, or maybe I don't know. We don't. And I get real tickled about the situation, but it's so true. We have no idea what tomorrow's going to bring. And my dog's squeaking her toy right now. So, but I do try to stock up on things, because I don't want to be without. And I don't want us to be in a situation where, we can't get somewhere. And my mom lives real close, so I keep things on hand that she may need and so forth. So, it's a lot to think about, and delivery services is a really something pretty dang cool, I'll tell you. And pick up groceries.
So convenient. Yeah.
It's so nice. It's so nice.
Well, I think we all have hit on so many wonderful things. And what I would encourage people is pick a couple, particularly if you're new back, re-entering the workforce, and you're particularly overwhelmed with, how that might be, or maybe you've been in the workforce a long time and managing, both, but the little bitty baby steps is what's going to lead to ultimately some more growth and satisfaction with your family life. But I love some of the just having the plan, being intentional, having that backup meal just in case whatever happens and you had to work late. And all of a sudden, instead of having to drive through whatever, I've got that meal that I can throw in the Instapot or whatever. It helps. And then sometimes you just drive through the drive-through, whatever. So giving yourself lots of grace as you learn to juggle all this and not comparing yourself to others. I mean, we could really go on and on. Ultimately, if your kids know you love them and you're working hard for them, in the long run, it'll be okay. So, well, I don't see anything else in the chat room. So participants, we are appreciative.
I do have a question though.
Yes, ma'am.
So I basically believe that from all the conversations, I've been doing all the right things, but for little kids, yeah, mommy and me time is very essential. But as the kids grow older, they are more clinging towards the peers, and I think that's what the struggle comes in. As the parent, you're trying to actually socialize with parents, trying to connect and network with them, and then the drama comes with other families and other things, and then it's kind of slowly creeping in your family. And I know sometimes you want to put, but it's just because kids connect with kids, and we're trying to find that perfect family that your kid is going to enjoy and all that stuff. So how would you balance that? Because I just feel like a good networking is kind of like really hard to find. And while we're finding, we kind of get lost in that.
Yeah, I think it's really important to recognize that developmentally, that is very normal. Children will, in their teens and adolescents, start to pull away from the parent unit and start to form, friendships become much more important at that time developmentally. And I think you kind of mentioned it, but really getting to know that community and the friends and their parents that they're spending time with, that's time well spent, because you want to make sure that that you understand their values and that you share those, and it's something that works with your family and really becomes part of what works for your family too.
It's hard though, what she was saying. I totally can understand it. It takes time to do all that, and it's just sometimes super hard. So just knowing that popularity didn't have to be the thing. Like if you can really connect with just one of your kids' friends, and just, you might not have time to get to know the whole family, but get to know that child, invite that child to go to dinner with y'all. And you can you can pick up the quality of family and their values through just getting to know their child. And then occasionally, making sure parents are on the same page. But it is hard as a mother of teenager. I mean, it's a challenge, and the time spent with them might look a little different, but it is, it's going to be less, but it's definitely valuable. And they might pretend they don't really want to hang out with you, but they do. So it might be once or twice a week that you, or might be a surprise, just run in their room at 9:00 at night and say, let's go get a Sonic soft, and just making something fun like that. And it maybe last 10 minutes, but it'll make a big difference.
Still carve out that family time, because like Cynthia said, they may say they don't want it, but they do, and it's still important.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I think it's a balance for sure, because kids want their independence. And so if you don't give it to them, they think you don't trust them, and you may have every reason not to trust them. So I would say just kind of what I think is important is that you talk, have lots of conversations about the difficult things, about drugs, about sex, about when you're in this situation of what can you do? I just want to make sure you know. And I'm going to be real honest. I have those conversations with my kids' friends in the car so that they hear me say it. Like, okay, so what are we going to do if we're worried, and you're, should you ever go walking alone on the streets at Halloween? No, you make sure you're in a group, so you try to give that independence, but make sure you speak it in front of their friends too. so they know exactly how you feel about it, but also so they're not scared to talk to you, where don't make it where it's this way or no way, but make it where you're more open to, this is what our family value is and what I want for you. But where they're open to have, like, maybe be that model for their friends. You hope they're the role model instead of the other way if it's a bad one. But I would say just make sure you're having those conversations. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that, and just I'm always saying, bring people here, bring everyone here, they're welcome to stay the night here. They're welcome to hang out here. Let me cook you guys dinner. Let me make this. Let me order a pizza or whatever the case is. And I try really hard to do that. Now, it's not always the most popular place, and my son doesn't always take me up on the offer. He'd rather go somewhere else because so-and-so's house is cooler to hang out at, or whatever the case is. So, and I get that. That was really hard for me to accept because I wanted our home to be the hangout house. And, it just really depends on the personality type of your child and the environment that you're setting at your house too. And you want to make sure it's healthy and get to know those parents and get to know those kids and things like that as much as you can. I'm a quizzer. I quiz, well, who else going to be there? What's going on? So my son knows that these questions are going to be asked. And I'm also, again, tapping into technology. I don't know how old your children are, but if they have a cell phone, you have the ability to track them. It doesn't cost anything. It's up to you as a parent and as a family household, what you guys decide to do. And I would encourage you to talk to your significant other and decide as a family unit what's best for you guys as parents. And then ask the children, this is what we're expecting. This is what we are wanting to partake in. Everybody's going to be on this Life 360, or everyone's going to be on the Find My Phone, or whatever the case is. And, not that you're trying to track down their every move. You want them to be able to have freedom and the ability to make their own decisions. But we have a lot at our fingertips that our parents didn't have. And I think sometimes it makes a really big difference. And maybe I don't know. It's hard. It's a real hard line to walk.
Any other last minute questions or comments? Well, just y'all participating, really is a wonderful thing. And I know myself, I've learned something new and also was encouraged, like, oh, I'm doing that, and, challenged in other ways. So we thank the Northwest High School counseling team tonight for their preparation and just being so open and willing to come on and share with us. Yes, ma'am. Was there another thing?
Oscar.
Okay. So thank you for coming, and we ask that you just keep an eye on our presentations and webinars that are coming out. You can always look at the website. It's just district website, nisdtx.org/PE for parent education. And we've got the schedule up there. All right. Thank you, ladies. We will see you another time.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you all for coming.